I am the stone that the builder refused. I am the visual, the inspiration that made ladies sing the blues. I'm the spark that makes your idea bright. The same spark that lights the dark so that you can know your left from your right. I am the ballad in your box, the bullet in the gun, the inner glow that let you know to call your brother son. The story that just begun, the promise of what's to come. And I'ma remain a soldier till the war is won.
Back with another video, and we are here to talk today about something interesting, something I'll say will be interesting in my opinion, because it's my channel, of course. And we're here to talk about biopics, or is it biopic? I look fresh, somewhat. Hair kind of a little weird right there, but hey, it's been weird like that for a couple of days. But we're here to talk about biopics, and I think this is something that I've always really been interested in, is biopics. Biopics is basically like biographical films based off of anybody, actually. Any real person, like for example, like Martin Luther King or Malcolm X or Gandhi, or, you know, somebody in history. And there's a film about their life, and they recreate it the best way they can with actors, and actors do what they can to try to have the exact same mannerisms, the exact same look, the exact same features on how the person they're portraying. For example, say I become famous, then I die. Somebody's gonna, or maybe not die, but like, you know, say there was a film based off of me. You know what I'm saying? There was a film based off of me. That's a biopic. What else do you want me to say? But we're here to talk about musical biopics. And I was actually thinking about this earlier because New Edition story kind of popped up in my head and how much I love that film. And I'm here to talk about my favorite musical biopics. I will be mentioning other biopics I haven't, like, you know, watched yet that I actually would love to watch. You know what I'm saying? But like biopics, I don't know, there's something special to me. Like, I don't know, they could be something really special to me, and I just really enjoy it. You know what I'm saying? I really enjoy them. Well, let me rephrase that. I enjoy some of them, because not all of them are guess, or what is it called? Not all of them are accurate, I guess. And honestly, I wouldn't really know that unless I'm a real, what is it called, big fan of the person. You know what I'm saying? I'm not a real big fan of the person, so I guess I wouldn't really know how accurate they really are, or know them personally. I'm just gonna go by like how much I enjoy them and how much sense they made. Does that make sense? Hopefully. But yeah, let me go through a few right quick. Let me go through a few in my head. Here's one. I probably name like a good 5 of them. Good 5 biopics that I enjoyed. Selena. Selena with Jennifer Lopez really kind of got me into Selena. You feel me? Selena is an artist that I feel like deserves more love right now. You know what I'm saying? Selena is the type of female that I feel like we should really talk more about. You know what I'm saying? She did so much for the Hispanic music industry in America. Like, she was known as the Madonna of Tejano music. And I feel like she needs more love right now. She was taken from this world so stupidly, bruh. She was taken from this world too early, you know what I mean? Like, there was one time when I was like really researching about her life and stuff like that. And it was very tragic how she died. Very, very tragic. She was so young and beautiful, and it just sucks. It just really does suck that happened to her. Like, it's just stupid. And by somebody who was the president of her fan club. Dang, bro. Killed at 23. I'm finna be 23 in like 4 years. Like, what? Dang. But, you know, like, that's not really the point of this video. But it stars Jennifer Lopez, and we all know Jennifer Lopez. This is the same film that kind of got J-Lo out there, you know what I mean? It got J-Lo out there to her, you know, career where she's at right now. This movie was amazing. Jennifer Lopez was that female to really kill it in the role We get to see Selena's struggles with, with Chris, with her boyfriend, who his father, Selena's father, hated Chris at the time, and they just wouldn't be together. And then we could see their relationship build, and it was beautiful. It was very beautiful. Released in 1997, you know what I'm saying, and the box office. Yeah, it did amazing. It did amazing. I think they handled her death. They handled her death wisely. You know what I mean? They handled her death wisely in the movie. They really did. I mean, they. I remember when I was younger watching it. I realized, why didn't they show her, getting shot and stuff like that? But then when I got older, I understand. You know what I'm saying? They couldn't really imagine, like I don't think her family will really want that in the film, or really want to recreate that in the film. You know what I mean? And right here, I'm actually looking at a quote right here. The death scene was shot once. The cast explained, oh, they did shoot it. The cast explained how emotional they were after that take. Oh my God. They were physically drained and emotionally drained after the death scene was shot. So she explained how she could not imagine what it's like to be Selena's family and further, Yeah, that's too much pain. Yeah, that was just too much pain for, for the cast and for the family, which is very understandable. So yeah, the death scene was taken out, and I actually do like how they handled her unfortunate passing. But enough of that negativity. But I love how the singing was. Well, actually, I don't think she sung I don't think J-Lo didn't really sing except for like one part before a show. But she handled all of Selena's mannerisms perfectly. And her last show with that beautiful hot pink, or was it pink or purple? I'm not sure. Actually, I think I'm sure, but whatever. They handled that nice last show perfectly as Selena. It was great. So yeah, this is a beautiful movie, and there's gonna be another Selena movie on Netflix, and honestly, we don't really need that. This is actually perfect. But hey, whatever gets Selena's name to the new generation, I guess, because this was almost around 20 years. No, it was 20 years ago. But yeah. My next favorite biopic is the New Edition story. Now, this right here was amazing. This was fantastic. I loved the New Edition story. The New Edition story really was just perfect to me. It was wonderful. I remember having such a great time watching it. Like we see them at like it's like 6 hours long. Like it was amazing. It was amazing. Like it was something that I just it was so beautiful. Like I loved watching them come through from when they were kids in 1978, you know what I'm saying, to all the way to 2005. Like it was beautiful. Like I loved watching it. Watching them from kids and watching their problems, watching their fights. It was beautiful. Their eras is just perfect. My personal favorite episode in the New Edition story was the second part 2, because that was I loved watching them grow up, and when they were singing Mr. Telephone Man, and watching Bobby just take over. Like Woody did a great job in that role as Bobby Brown. Did a good job. Woody McClain did an amazing job as Bobby Brown. Like this dude, he killed it. He killed it on stage. All of them killed it when it comes to the dances. You're Not My Kind of Girl was amazing. When they were singing Cool It Down. This is one of my favorite parts of the entire film. Was in Cool It Down, where Bobby Brown was just, saying, I'm done with this group. He was getting hot at it. You know what I'm saying? He was taking off the spotlight. He was trying to do it. He was getting aggressive. He was acting like a dick. You know what I'm saying? He really was killing it on stage, or at least he thought he was. And then he said, I quit. And then he comes running back on stage. You know, he runs off stage first, like some diva. Then he runs back on stage, taking the mic from Michael. And Michael kicked his ass on stage. Michael, you could tell he was a fighter. Like, and that's the thing. I love watching the dynamic with all of the cast members. You understand what I'm saying? I love watching their dynamic. Like, you could tell all of them had their special features, special mannerisms. For example, Bobby was, you could tell he was hot-headed. He was hot-headed. He was cool at first, but then he got too swell-headed. Then he started marrying Whitney Houston, having the #1 album. You could tell he felt like he was the king of the world. You could tell. Ralph was a lot laid back, you know what I'm saying? He was very laid back. However, he did have his mojo. He didn't like to be tested. You know what I'm saying? He was definitely very sharp when it comes to, he's very suave, you feel me? And Michael, you could tell he was aggressive, but he was all about his business. You could tell that he wasn't afraid to kick nobody's ass. You could tell. And he stood up for the entire group too. You know what I'm saying? That he killed it. And when Michael found out about Gary, you know what I'm saying? And then he turned into that business guy. You know what I'm saying? He got put on to Boyz II Men. And look how big that became. Michael, he killed it. Ricky, I think Ricky was, he tried to bring people together. You could tell he tried to bring people together the most. I don't want to sound ignorant by saying none of this stuff, but you know what I mean? Ricky is also, in my opinion, the best singer of New Edition in real life. People don't give him credit. Ronnie, he's also laid back, but he's very laid back. Like he doesn't speak all the time. He's very laid back, very talented, very talented. I think Ronnie is the best dancer in New Edition. Bobby Brown was great too, but that dude Ronnie, he could still kill it right now. And Johnny Gill, oh my goodness, this dude is Luther Vandross Jr., bro. I'm telling you, Johnny Gill is amazing. But yeah, you could tell. And Brooke, I love Brooke. Maurice, the mothers in the film. Basically, New Edition story is my favorite biopic of all time. I loved it. I loved it. Like, when we saw them as kids and we saw them doing these talent shows and everything like that, it felt like very Jackson 5-esque, you know what I'm saying, when it was just 5 of them and they were all killing it. I mean, Ronnie came in later on, so I guess it was 4 then, it turned into 5. You know what I mean? We saw their separations. We saw their solo projects. We saw their fighting. We saw their problems. But I think this another amazing scene within the film is literally in the end. It was in the third part where we see all of them fighting. We see all of them fighting in the Home Again tour. On the Home Again tour, eventually, you know, just they canceled the Home Again tour because guess what? Bobby got all swell-headed. Ronnie got mad and da 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 da. And Ronnie, you know, it was like a wake-up call at that moment in time. It was like a wake-up call. It was like, as soon as Ronnie got mad, that's when Bobby realizes that he pushed him too far. You know what I'm saying? You know what I mean? Like, around the Home Again tour, you could tell it was around the time where all of them kind of got swell-headed in a way. They had separate tour buses. They had a large entourage, a bunch of luggage. You know what I mean? And they weren't necessarily doing the best financially. So we saw how they dealt with it after Home Again. Like Ronnie, what he was doing. You know, he's gonna get married. Then we see Ricky having drug problems as well. And we saw his marriage was kind of failing a little bit. You know what I mean? And they were all finding each other in a way. You know what I mean? And it's just, you know, they were just depressed. It was just depressing for all of them at the time. But then they all came back together in the last BET performance in 2005, yeah. And they all got together and they all kind of had a talk, you know, very well-needed talk. They all kind of had a little reunion. And it was beautiful to watch. Very beautiful to watch. So yeah, the New Edition story handled all of this perfectly. I don't really care what nobody has to say. New Edition story. They did perfect. They did amazing with this movie. This movie was perfect. I loved it. Was there any problems? I don't think there was any. I think what did make this movie probably the best, you know what I'm saying, was probably that all six, all six members was actually here to really, you know what I'm saying, have part into it. You know what I mean? Like Selena, of course she wasn't there. But with New Edition, all six of them was there to really like give their sides, and it's actually very fun to really look at it. Very fun, and it was a very fun movie, very heart driven. You could tell. Another one, TLC, Crazy Sexy Cool. I love this movie. I love this movie. All of these I love. TLC, Crazy Sexy Cool story was actually just one of the movies that I just can't. Oh, also one more thing with the New Edition story. The one thing that I thought was special the most about the New Edition story was that all of them were singing their own song, their own voices. For example, Woody McClain, it was his vocals. Al G. Smith, his own vocals. Brashear Gray, his own vocals as Michael Bivins. Elijah Kelly, his own vocals as Ricky Belton. All of them have their own vocals in it. That made it even more special. I really want BT to release the soundtrack of this film so we can hear their own voices, because they sound almost exactly how Ralph sounded, how Michael sounded, how Bobby sounded. Maybe not exactly how Bobby sounded, but you got it. You guys just get what I meant. I want a soundtrack album. I want it immediately. But yeah, that was the New Edition story. But now transition over to TLC, Crazy Sexy Cool. First of all, this movie was great. It was great. It didn't have what is it called? It didn't have what is it called? It didn't have the same budget, I would say, as the New Edition story or Selena, but it did great in its own light. It did amazing. You know what I'm saying? We saw everything. We saw it from when they were growing up. You know what I'm saying? When they all met each other. Maybe not growing up, because they was like around like 19 or 20 when we see them first. You know what I mean? It's been a minute since I actually watched this movie though, but I love it. I love it. I love the movie. Keke Palmer. I always liked Keke Palmer as a kid. You feel me? True Jackson. Lil Mama. When I was a kid, Lil Mama was popping. You know what I'm saying? So good little cast. Good little cast. Drew Sidora. I don't really know much about Drew Sidora. I'm not gonna lie. I know she was in the game, but that's really all I seen her as. You know what I'm saying? Oh, she was in Step Up. I know her name did sound familiar though. She was in Step Up. You guys know Step Up. Y'all gotta know Step Up now. But yeah, the cast, you know, a pretty dope cast, I would say, pretty good cast. And let me tell you, before we even say anything, Lil Mama did an amazing job as Left Eye. Amazing job. She did an amazing job as Left Eye. That's all I gotta say. But yeah, as I keep going, you know what I'm saying? We see how they're all coming together. We see Tion, you know what I'm saying, T-Boz and Left Eye, you know, talking, coming together. And we see Crystal, and Crystal, you know what I'm saying, isn't really too good. It ain't really popping, so, you know, she had to head out. She had to bounce out the group, which is kind of sad now I think about it, because it was kind of her group. But, you know, she just didn't have what it takes, you know what I'm saying. And then, you know, they meet with Pebbles. You know, all of them met with Pebbles, and Pebbles, you know, realized that Crystal wasn't killing it, so Pebbles had them kick Crystal out of the group, you know, which is sad. But, you know, they kept going. Then, you know, then we see Chili. Chili kind of introduces herself, you know what I'm saying? Chili introduced herself as she was dancing. She was a backup dancer for Damian Dean as well. And, you know, she kind of introduced herself to Pebbles and the girls not ready to hit with her at first, you know what I'm saying? But then they all grew to love each other. And then, you know, we see Chili kind of having that relationship with Dallas Austin. And then apparently got a little too hot that Pebbles eventually kicks Chili out the group, and then Chili has to go. And, you know, that definitely hurt her. And then we see T-Boz and Left Eye, have to like look for a new girl. But they couldn't find no new girl. So Chili had to come back, of course, you know what I'm saying? But, she couldn't do no dumb stuff. But yeah, I guess I'm kind of getting too deep into the story. This isn't really a review, but I guess it is. But yeah, basically we just see the story. Pebbles is a disgusting human being. We see T-Boz, dealing with her sickle cell problems, and Pebbles doesn't really care. She just wants the show to go on, which is kind of sad, which is very sad. So, and we see also them dealing with their contracts, and they're broke, you know what I'm saying, because, basically TLC's label is just basically stealing all their money. New Edition story, that happened with them too. You know what I'm saying? So they weren't receiving good money, you know what I'm saying? And we see Lisa, we go to the CraxySexyCool era, you feel me? And then after that, we see the problems with Left Eye and this group kind of splitting up a little bit. T-Boz almost nearly fighting Lisa. And we see the problems. We see them go up and down, up and down, up and down. But in the end, they're all sisters. They love each other heavily. And, we see Lisa's death in the end. You know what I mean? And I think that really, all of this really just shows you that these three stuck together no matter what. Lisa, for example, Lisa burning down Andre Rison's house, they still stuck together. Lisa's boyfriend just being retarded, just saying stupid stuff to get in her head, making Lisa think all different things, they still stuck together. When Chili, had her first abortion and she was depressed about it, they all stuck together. T-Boz's sickle cell anemia. Sickle cell. Yeah, my fault. I said that completely wrong. I apologize. But I don't edit anything. They all stuck together. You know what I'm saying? So it's like when Pebbles putting them through nonsense, they all stuck together. I tell you, I really love the dynamic with each other in the film. It made it feel like it was actually TLC. They did an amazing job. Basically, they just did an amazing job. And I will always love them for this movie. And this movie isn't even the thing that got me to TLC. There's like just a plus. You know what I mean? All of this was amazing. All of this is amazing. And when Lisa passes away, we see the hurt with Tiana and Chili. It was so sad. You know what I mean? And they kind of just fizzle out, you know what I mean? Not fizzle out as in like in a negative way. They just kind of their heart really isn't into it no more. I mean, I always kind of get that vibe within the film. I know in real life, you know what I mean, they were dealing with their own way. I'm talking about in the movie. You know what I'm saying? The film ends, 10 years later, after, Lisa passes away, they start recording their next album. You know what I mean? And we see Meant to Be, that song, Meant to Be. With like we go back to the actual Chili and T-Boz, and they were with Neo in the studio, and they're singing their new song Meant to Be. It's a beautiful song. But yeah, that's CraxySexyCool, and CraxySexyCool did a great job. Great job. Man. But I did say I was gonna do 5 biopics, but the other biopics that I was going to speak about, I haven't really saw the entire thing. You feel me? For example, biopics like Jackson's An American Dream. God knows that I did not watch that entire thing. That is a long biopic. I'll watch it eventually, but that is a long one. I don't know about that. All Eyes on Me, I've seen bits and clips here and there. You know what I mean? But I didn't see the whole thing. I'll definitely watch that eventually. Bohemian Rhapsody. Oh my goodness. I've seen clips and bits and pieces of that. That is beautiful from what it looks like. I haven't seen the whole thing, so I didn't feel like reviewing it in this thing right here. The Bobby Brown story. I never watched that whole thing. I don't know why. I love New Edition story so much. I don't know why I didn't watch the Bobby Brown story. I don't know why. Straight out of content. I did watch that whole thing a while back, but it's been so long that I don't feel like I could create like a huge segment into this review about it. You know what I'm saying? But that was great from the last time I remember it. That was a great film. But I haven't seen it in a minute, so I'm not gonna, you know. The Temptations, I remember watching that back in the day. You know what I'm saying? But you know, I didn't. I'm not gonna review. I haven't seen it in like 10 years. The Ray Charles one, the Jimi Hendrix, the Get On Up one with James Brown. That I did watch. Get On Up with James Brown. That one was pretty good. I actually did like that James Brown movie. It's been a minute since I've seen that too. Rest in peace, Chadwick Boseman and James Brown. But yeah, those are 3 biopics that I just reviewed for y'all. You know what I'm saying? I can't wait to see more biopics in the future. You know what I'm saying? But they need to be done with justice. Yeah, so what are your favorite biopics? Musical biopics. What are they? Just let me know, because I'm all ears. I want to get more people looking at me, more people watching, because I really do enjoy doing these type of videos. So yeah, that was dope.